Yeah, I've come to realize that once again, as if I haven't realized this before, just how insidious collectivism is. This idea of thinking of collectives or groups as things, as beings, as containing essences, and thus being imputable with moral responsibility and having causal power. And all of this is so much nonsense. Of course, only the individual acts, only the individual thinks. Secondary substances exist, but in a secondary sense, in a more distant sense. That is to say, collectives exist as something like a final cause, something that their members do together. It's like a task or an action more than it is like a thing. Now, what brought this up? What brought this to my mind? First of all, a little conversation that me and John were having on Discord. Okay, but the other thing that has been bugging me about this is about genocide. And this has been, I guess, kind of in the zeitgeist, unfortunately. Mostly with the conflicts surrounding, on the one hand, Israel and what Israel is doing to Gaza and the Palestinians. And the question of, is it genocide? Or is it not? And then the further question of anyone who says yes to the previous question immediately gets called a Holocaust denier for allegedly disconnected reasons, because they say things that maybe they told a joke 10 years ago on a podcast with Richard Spencer. I'm sorry, I have to bring this up because the example that comes to mind particularly is the debate, if you want to call it that, between Dave Smith and Alex Berenson, the COVID skeptic guy, who I thought I had a lot of respect for until this, who kept repeatedly on this debate. He had the moderator repeatedly play a clip from an interview that Dave Smith did literally 10 years ago, in 2015, with Richard Spencer, the white nationalist, the actual sort of Nazi, sort of Holocaust denier, where he said something. He made a joke about how Richard Spencer is like, well, if they somehow cured autism, that'd be a real Holocaust for libertarians, because libertarianism causes autism, or vice versa. Probably right, vice versa. Autism leads one to be more libertarian or something like that. And then Dave said something like, "Yeah, but the difference is this one was real," and they share a laugh, which is funny because Richard Spencer actually denies the Holocaust. It's funny because it's making fun of him, not making fun of the millions of people who died, right? And so apparently this means that Dave Smith is a Holocaust denier, and but of course everyone saw through this because it's retarded. But they actually did get into a bit of a conversation about, okay, do you accept the Holocaust happened? Was it a genocide? Right? Okay, cool. Right, fine. Yeah, of course, yes, obviously. But then he says they start arguing about Daryl Cooper, who I also like and respect a great deal. He's brilliant independent scholar, who is apparently a Holocaust denier by the definition of the what is it, the Holocaust Remembrance Society or something. Something like this. Some kind. It's an Israeli organization, but it focuses specifically on the intentionality of destroying a people as such, destroying the Jews qua a people. Now, hot take. Ready? I hope you're ready. It's extremely hot take. I think that genocide, or what makes mass murder into genocide, does not actually make it any ethically worse than mass murder. Okay. I think that, and that is because, and I think that this is more or less the position not stated as such, but this is more or less the position that Dave Smith is arguing for. He's like, I don't care if it's a genocide. It's mass murder, so it's bad. So why do we care? Why does it matter that they're trying to exterminate a people? Because the reason that he doesn't see such a difference, and I don't really, I explicitly don't, is because peoples aren't a thing. They aren't things. They're collections of things. Collections of persons. It's the persons that matter. Peoples, if they exist, are transitory, are momentary, are accidental. They don't really matter. It's the particular persons who are murdered that matter. And if you go killing innocent people, I don't care why you do it, it's wrong. It's one of the worst things you can do. Your motive isn't that significant. Right? Murdering someone, or murdering a lot of people, committing mass murder for the purpose of genocide is very similar to what we would call a hate crime. Right? You're killing somebody or attacking somebody or whatever because you harbor some kind of racial prejudice. You're a racist or whatever. Okay, that's bad, but it's bad because you're committing a crime against someone. It's not bad because you have stupid ideas, right? Which is the same thing that's going on in the case of genocide, I would argue. That in order to try to commit genocide, you have to have in the forefront of your mind something that doesn't exist as the object of your action, that is, a people. You're trying to destroy a people. You're trying to destroy something that does not have any existence of its own, that is only a sort of gestalt quality. An emergent quality of persons. And maybe that's a bad motive, but it's a bad motive of the sort that's a stupid motive, not an evil motive. It's like it's the same way how, for example, hey Adam, how you doing? It's the same way how say conducting human sacrifices to appease false gods is not an evil motive, because you're not knowingly and intentionally worshipping demons. You might wind up being worshipping demons, but set that aside, right? Your intention is not evil, it's stupid. Your intention, your end, is something that does not exist. It's something nebulous, it's something foggy. And so, same as the case of a hate crime, right? You hate a race, which is something that isn't real. A race is just a bunch of individuals that share secondary characteristics, accidental characteristics typically, or at least at most properties. And then, say, a genocide is, well, it's bad because it's mass murder. Your reason for committing mass murder is a stupid reason. It's not a more evil reason than mass murder for the sake of consolidation of power, or mass murder for the sake of land acquisition, or mass murder because I hate people and I want them to die, right? That's just as bad. It might be a different kind of bad, but it's just as bad. So again, I'm not actually convinced. I'm coming more and more to think that genocide is not actually any worse than mass murder. It's just a particular motive for mass murder, and it's a particularly stupid motive for mass murder. Now, there aren't any good motives for mass murder, just to clarify that, but it's a dumb one. It's a particularly dumb one. It's a conceptually confused one. And I think part of why people like Dave Smith and Daryl Cooper, and myself for that matter, up until this sort of realization, I think part of the reason why none of us really saw the difference between the Holocaust qua destruction of the Jews as a people versus the Holocaust qua mass murder, right? Because Daryl Cooper has talked extensively about the horrors of the Holocaust and the horrifying mass murders that were conducted by the Nazis, and how utterly destructive it was, and how terrible it was to do all of that to innocent people. All of these things. But if he says that, well, maybe the intention was, or maybe the intention wasn't, he's sort of agnostic as to what the intention was, whether they were trying to exterminate the Jews as a people, or whether they were just trying to expand Lebensraum, or they were trying to find a particularly convenient cultural scapegoat, or trying to eliminate subversives, or they had prisoners who were enemies of the state that they needed to get rid of, or whatever the motive might be. For somebody like Daryl Cooper, it doesn't matter because he doesn't think in collectives. He doesn't think of peoples. He thinks of persons, just like we all should. I think that is kind of at the core of this Holocaust denial kerfuffle that's been going on lately. So what do you think? Am I onto something here? Am I crazy? Am I a Holocaust denier? What do you think?